guess my question is, given the path we're on, in other words, let's say we don't really change anything, at what point, Alan, do we have a severe fiscal crisis which requires us to do what we did in the early 80s with only in spades, debase the currency, inflation, et cetera, et cetera? And I know that's a very difficult question, but I think Americans really deserve to know when we're going to hit a wall here, or at what point this is, we all know it's unsustainable, but at what point could we face a severe fiscal meltdown in this country?
What has to happen here is that we have got to get back to a general view that this is not a bottomless pit. We have physical resources which cannot do all of the things that everyone wants to do. And unless we can get some means to go back to a view where it is not the most important thing when you're in Congress to find ways to spend money to help your constituents, I think that's critically important. But remember, we've had over 200 years of Congresses in which that didn't happen. And I think this has become an extraordinary country, by far the most productive in the world. We've had a remarkable democracy. The system works. There's nothing in it which says we have to be profligate in spending and creating benefits for constituents. They're not really asking for it.
And how much time do we have?
I would say the time frame collapses very quickly if we do nothing. It's not going to be the next two years. There's no credible scenario. It's out there somewhere in the future. Somebody who says they know exactly when it is merely indicates that they don't have a clue what's going on. The critical triggering point will be in the bond market. And we don't yet see that, but when we begin to see that, that is, in fact, the canary in the coal mine.
And could I just say, for the record, what would we see in the bond market that would sound this alarm?
It would show up, as I indicated earlier, that it would show up largely in the longer end of the market, meaning 30-year treasuries and 10-year notes. Yields would start to move up relative to, say, one-year treasury bills, so that what we call the yield curve would tilt up very significantly. That's the first sign that something is emerging, similar to, as I said before, what happened to the city of New York.
If I can,
No, I'm way over time.
very quickly, you mentioned inflation, Senator. This is very important. You cannot inflate your way out of this problem. You can inflate your way out of the burden associated with the $12 trillion in current debt. But the problem is not that. The problem is the $38 trillion in unfunded obligations for Medicare, the 7+ for Social Security, that grow faster than inflation, and in the case of healthcare, faster than the economy when the economy grows. You have to make tough choices on healthcare costs, on social insurance reforms, on spending constraints, on tax reforms. Tough choices are inevitable.
Did you see any of those choices made while you were here?
No, that's why we need a special process. They won't be made, in my opinion, Senator. They won't be made in the regular order because the regular order is dysfunctional.